Part 7. Super Role Player. Author, Yuan-san Buletinji. Chapter 61. The league announced early for the All-Star Game Reserve and Rookie Game list. In the Western Conference's reserve list, the Spurs were still selected. Tony Parker was selected as the reserve list, and Tim Duncan was eventually lost because the Spurs were also selected last season. First in the league, so this season's All-Star Game will be coached by Scott Brooks, second in the West. As for the Rookie Game, the league also sent invitations to the Spurs. Anzi and Kawhi Leonard were both selected for the Rookie Game. Recently, the Hotline Crazy was not selected for the Rookie Game, so the league announced the addition of Jeremy Lin and the Heat at the last minute. Norris Cole's entry into the Rookie Game can be seen by anyone with a discerning eye. This addition is obviously for Jeremy Lin. The league cannot prevent such a Hotline Crazy from participating in the All-Star Rookie Game, and Norris Cole is obviously a escort. Anzi was selected for the Rookie Game, but the Spurs' record during this period is not stable. Because of frequent rotations, the Spurs have lost 2 more games during Lin's crazy period. The current record is 28 wins and 5 losses, ranking in the league. First, the Thunder and the Heat both have a record of 26 wins and 7 losses, tied for second in the league. The Bulls have a record of 26 wins and 8 losses, ranking third in the league. After half of the season, the league's championship situation has gradually become clear. The Bulls and Heat in the East have shown their ability to compete for the title, and the Thunder and Spurs in the West. The Lakers, who were predicted at the beginning of the season, are struggling because of Phil Jackson's departure. The upstart Clippers have not shown people. The expected strength is that the Spurs, who were not optimistic about it before the season, played all the way and became the favorite to win the championship. In this way, only the Spurs, Thunder, Heat and Bulls are still in the league. On February 24, Anzi took a plane to Orlando, and Tony Parker went with Anzi. In this All-Star Game, Parker will participate in the All-Star Game and Skills Challenge. Like Anzi, Parker will also participate in 2 competitions. In addition to Parker, Boris Diaw, Manu Ginobili, and Matt Bonner also followed to Orlando. They went to play. The All-Star Weekend is a major event in the NBA. Naturally, there are many NBA players to watch the excitement. Kawhi Leonard did not follow them. Until Anzi and the others arrived in Orlando, did they get news that Kawhi Leonard was injured. Early and late were not injured, but at this time they were injured. Anzi guessed the reason. The Spurs participated in the All-Star with only 3 players. Anzi and Parker are here, and Kawhi Leonard is injured. Think about it. 2 games in Anzi are related to his income, $500,000 in the 3-point contest and $500,000 in the Rookie Game. This is an income of $1 million, and Popovich naturally can't stop it. The same goes for Tony Parker. Although Parker only has the income from the race, the income is more than Anzi in total. It is also the reward income of the sneaker contract, and it is also the income of several endorsements given by France, which adds up to more than $10 million. May. Arrived in Orlando, led by a few veterans in the team, Anzi has no worries about nowhere to go. Someone picked it up when the plane got off the plane. Magic forward Hajduk sent a 7-seater MPV to pick up everyone. Why did Tekoglu send a car to pick up Anzi and the others? In fact, this is still 7 or 8 years ahead. Hajduk once played for the Spurs for 1 year. That year, Turkoglu completed the transformation with the Spurs and won a big contract with the Magic 1 season later, and because of this, Turkoglu has always had a good relationship with several of his old teammates. Several Spurs players this time, Tony Parker, Manu, and Bonner have maintained good relations with Turkoglu. Coming to Turkoglu's site this time, he would naturally entertain him. 7 MPVs took Anzi and his party to a bar in downtown Orlando. Hajduk Tekoglu was waiting in the lobby, Anzi and the others arrived, and Tekoglu greeted them. Manu, Tony, You are here, come on, I made a private room upstairs. A few people smiled and greeted a few words. And 11 followed the group into the private room upstairs. There were already a few people in the private room. And 11 looked around and found that it was a few Magic players. Ryan Anderson, Jason Richardson, and the big baby Glenn Davis, so there was another greeting and greetings. Angzi was more bitter. He is also a newcomer. No one paid attention to him. Although he was mentioned in the greetings, it was almost I only cared about chatting with myself, and after talking for a while, I left Angzi aside. Jason Richardson from the Magic side also persuaded Angzi to drink, but was pushed back by Tony Parker. There will be a rookie game in Angzi tomorrow, so you can't drink. So Angzi just hid in the corner and drank juice, listening to a group of people bragging about some romantic affairs that happened recently in the league. What, the old fish fisher stole Matt Barnes's wife? Matt Barnes? Don't know yet, wait. Just as boring as Angzi, there is Ryan Anderson from Magic. He is not a rookie, but because of his young age, he can't talk with a few veterans. He has no interest in the so-called fisher stealing, but Angzi. Let him have some interest, because the day after tomorrow Ryan Anderson will also participate in the three-point contest, then Angzi is his opponent. And, I heard that you will participate in the three-point contest the day after tomorrow. Angzi was still listening to Tony Parker's chat with enthusiasm, and when he heard someone talking to him, he immediately turned his head and looked over. Yes, I heard you also participated. Ryan. When it was Ryan Anderson, Angzi understood that if this guy remembers correctly, he also participated in the three-point contest. Yes, my goal is the three-pointer, how about you? Ryan Anderson smiled. When Angzi heard what Ryan Anderson said, he couldn't help but curl his lips in his heart, saying, whose goal is not the three-pointer? But he was still very humble and said, I just want to participate, I haven't thought about it. Unexpectedly, Ryan Anderson nodded, yes, you are still a rookie. This kind of game is still a bit big for you. If you don't know how to play, you will play abnormally. Of course, even if you play normally, there is no chance, unlike me. This time I am aiming to win the championship, no one wants to stop me, you are still young and don't understand this. Angzi was stunned. He looked at Ryan Anderson with a silly look. He didn't expect that just a humble sentence could attract Ryan Anderson's self-confidence, and this kind of self-confidence couldn't stop Ryan Anderson. I have been bragging about how powerful I am, what I have prepared for this three-point contest for 3 years, and I will definitely hit many people in the face this season. Hearing that Angzi had nothing to say, he was wondering if this person was already drunk. When Ryan Anderson finished his self-confidence, Angzi stopped paying attention to the feel-good Magic power forward and drank juice on his own. The bar party soon ended. The Magic's Jason Richardson was already drunk, but the Spurs were very restrained, at most a little alcoholic. Obviously the Spurs team culture defeated the bar culture book friends are welcome to visit and read. The latest, fastest, and hottest serial works are all at mobile phone users, please go to read. Super Role Player. Author, San Buletinji. Chapter 62. This is today's first update. Once again, remind me that this week we will add a chapter every time it breaks 500. Now there are more than 200 votes. Early on the 25th, Angzi and Tony Parker parted ways. As a substitute player for the main match, Parker needed to do some community activities. And Angzi doesn't need it, because the rookie game is about to start in the afternoon. The head coaches of the two rookie teams in the morning need to pick people. After picking them, they have to practice some routines. So at the Amway Arena, Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barker Lee waited there early. Angzi also appeared soon. At this time, many rookies had gathered in the arena, including Kelly Irving and Blake Griffin. They were already waiting here. As soon as Angzi arrived, Blake Griffin walked up and played. And 11 was also a little surprised when he said hello, but it was relieved when he thought about it. He and Griffin are no strangers to each other. Charles Barkley and O'Neill don't know what to discuss. It seems to be a way of grouping. Anyway, Angzi waited for a while and didn't start the grouping. Not long after, Jeremy Lin also came. This recently popular Chinese-American point guard in the United States attracted a lot of attention as soon as he came. And 11 hesitated, but he stepped forward and said hello to Jeremy Lin. "Hello, Shu Hao, nice to meet you." Angzi speaks Chinese. Jeremy Lin just glanced at Angzi in surprise, and then said thank you in crappy Chinese. Angzi was stunned. What's going on? He blushed instantly, an embarrassing blush. Was this Nima dried by Jeremy Lin? Although I replied with a thank you, it is no different from no reply. And 11 was embarrassed and didn't know what to do. The most embarrassing thing was that Blake Griffin and the others kept looking at him. And 11 felt like a shameful thing was discovered. And, fortunately, it didn't take long for Angzi to be rescued by a crisp and sweet voice. Angzi turned around and saw that it was Abby. Angzi and Abby hugged for a while, and finally they were not so embarrassed, because the rookie game grouping is also a highlight of this rookie game. So Abby's Fox Sports, ESPN, and TNT Sports have sent the live broadcast team, and Abby is the reporter on the scene sent by Fox, but Angzi didn't know this. "Abby, how can you come in?" Of course Angzi knew that Abby had also come to Orlando. They had made an appointment to meet in Orlando at the beginning, but Angzi thought the group was closed and no reporters would come in. "Live your group," Abby explained, but her face quickly turned red because Angzi had been holding her. Seeing Abby blushing, and 11 also found that the atmosphere on the scene was a bit wrong. He looked around and found that almost everyone was watching him. And 11 was so scared that he hurriedly let go. His relationship with Abby has not been made public yet, I know. There are not many people. Angzi talked a few words with Abby while staying away, and the live broadcast of the group began, and the two could only separate. "And, is that your girlfriend?" Blake Griffin has been standing next to Angzi. In the whole rookie game, he is a little familiar with Angzi. And 11 nodded, and then remembered that it seemed that this Griffin was not a good bird, so he joked and asked, "Well, about you, I heard that you have had a lot of girls in Los Angeles." Blake Griffin scratched his head and said with a smile, "Hey, I prefer to play, and I have so many girlfriends, none of them can compare to yours." Angzi smiled. In the middle of the field, the division of Barkley and O'Neill also started. The currently selected O'Neill team directly picked Blake Griffin, and the weird O'Neill directly hugged Griffin. Barkley chose Kelly Irving, the hottest champion this season. Then, one rookie or sophomore was selected one after another, and the O'Neill team who chose first chose Jeremy Lin in second place. This is currently the hottest player in the United States by O'Neill. Barkley also chose John Wall as a response. And Angzi was finally selected by the Barkley team. He will become the opponent of Blake Griffin and Jeremy Lin. Finally, the grouping results are released. The Shaq team's roster is as follows: Blake Griffin, Jeremy Lin, Ricky Rubio, Markieff Morris, Greg Monroe, Landry Fields, Norris Cole, Kemba Walker, Brandon Te, and Tristan Thompson. The Chuck team's roster is as follows: Kelly Owen, DeMarcus Cousins, Gordon Hayward, Paul George, Derek Williams, Martian Brooks, John Wall, Derek Favors, and Creek and Evan Turner. As soon as the roster was released, the two teams started training. To be honest, this training is more of a show. Just like some reality shows, it looks like that. In fact, this kind of training is useless at all, weird. Charles Barkley and O'Neill are just kidding everyone. There is no so-called tactical routine at all. Angzi is on the side of the Barkley team. Listening to some of Charles Barkley's tactical arrangements, Angzi was thunderous, and what kind of elbow opened the way, and what moved the pick and roll. Angzi is really very good. I want to ask, can these routines really be used in competitions? The reporters from the three major sports stations have been there. Abby has been watching Angzi training. As a Spurs, Angzi still behaves very calmly, and only listened to Barkley's for a while. He talked about it and hid away and practiced on his own. It was Kelly Owen and the others. They were so hilarious throughout the training, and the cameras were also directed at them. N11, who often watches variety shows in China, knows that these guys can get a lot of shots now, and they might be popular if they perform well. Perhaps this is the so-called sense of artistry. The two teams were trained separately. As a result, N11 never saw Jeremy Lin again. To be honest, the first time he saw Jeremy Lin's being ignored really made Angzi a little angry. He, Jeremy Lin and Ali N are in the entire league. The only three of them are of Chinese descent. As a result, they said hello and ignored them. Although they replied with a thank you, the meaning of this tone is more like treating Angzi as a fan. Lin crazy fan? It can only be said that Jeremy Lin thought too well. I can only say that Jeremy Lin has no sense of belonging to the so-called Chinese. Otherwise, how could he not communicate with Angzi at all? N11 thought for a while. He felt that he was still a mediocre person. Others ignored him and ignored him. There is nothing to say. Anyway, there will be no intersection between the two. Angzi is in the Spurs and Jeremy Lin is in New York. The season only met twice in the regular season. As for the playoffs, with New York's strength, don't even think about meeting the Spurs, but the Spurs still have a chance to meet the Eastern Conference team. Time flies quickly, and soon the rookie game is about to begin. Charles Barkley blew his whistle to get everyone together. He is about to start pre-match training. No, to be precise, he is about to start acting. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Role Player. Author, Yuan San Buletinji. Chapter 63. Today's second update, Yuan will be updated at 2 o'clock. Let's see if you can vote for 500 votes. If it reaches 500 votes, Yuan will update the third update at 8:30 in the evening. I think you all know that in this rookie challenge that brings together elites, I, Charles Barkley, will personally serve as your head coach. This is your honor. Personally served, N11 curled his lips. This big mouth is willing to say anything for the sake of effect, and personally, I am honored. We have two goals in this game. One is to limit the opponent's score to less than 90 points, and the other is to play our own offense and get at least 100 points. In this way, we will definitely be able to win the game. Angzi is even more speechless now. Isn't this nonsense? The opponent's score is less than 90 points, and your own score is more than 100, 100:90, won't you win? Then, let's go. Charles Barkley checked the time, the game was about to begin, and he immediately announced his departure. Because Angzi and the others trained in the Amway Arena, they came to the locker room after a few steps. In this game, the Chuck team played the visiting team, so Angzi used the visiting team's locker room. The Amway Arena is a new arena, the facilities are still very advanced, much better than the Spurs' home stadium. As soon as he entered the locker room, Angzi found his cabinet and sat down and began to change the rookie game jerseys. There was no separate jersey for the rookie challenge. They were all jerseys for their respective teams, so Angzi wore his number 7 Spurs jersey. The one with the main color black. Charles Barkley also came in, and he began to arrange the starting lineup for this game. The geniuses, our starting lineup for this game is Kelly Irving, John, Paul George, Derek Williams, and DeMarcus Cousins. Let us do our best and defeat the opponent as I said before. Barkley finished speaking and stretched out his hand. Angzi stood up in silence and slapped his teammates together. The starting lineup of the rookie game is the result of strength and reputation. Kelly Irving and the others are strength, and Derek Williams is the reputation. I just don't know if Jeremy Lin can get a starter in the Shaq team. After all, this guy is now capable. Well known. The geniuses Barkley spoke of appeared in succession. Although it was only the rookie challenge, there were still a lot of celebrities on the sidelines. The league also prepared some wonderful performances during the intermission. The league invited the singer Ikea, Celia and Justin Bieber come for the opening and midfield performances, and Justin Bieber will also participate in the All-Star Masters game after the Rookie Challenge, and Penny Hardaway will fight together. The lights in the Amway Arena dimmed suddenly. Under the passionate report of the live DJ, the players played one after another. Because it was a rookie game, the two teams had no difference between home and guest. Every rookie appearance aroused huge cheers on the scene. Blake Griffin, the first player to play was Blake Griffin. This young power forward was also selected for the All-Star game, so he was the most popular among rookies, and the scene suddenly there was thunderous cheers. Jeremy Lin, who played second, was the second highest in the Rookie Challenge in terms of fame. If you count the current popularity, he should be considered the hottest. Lin crazy was right at the time. The stock boom has swept across the United States. When Jeremy Lin ran out all the way, all the fans in the audience started shouting, "Linsanity." An 11 was standing behind, he had to sigh, Jeremy Lin is indeed out of control now. An 11's appearance order is in the middle, and his appearance also attracted a wave of cheers, but compared to Blake Griffin and Jeremy Lin, it is a bit far behind. Everyone came out, the geniuses began to warm up, and some were pulled by reporters on the sidelines and started interviews before the game. Angzi was pulled by Abby. Angzi still appreciates Abby's blatant show of affection, but the question asked made Angzi startled in a cold sweat. "And, what did you think of Yiji's singing just now?" When an 11 was in the player tunnel, Yiji Azalea sang a song. An 11 also listened carefully, he thought it was not bad, "I think it's not bad, it sounds good. Do you think Yiji is pretty?" An 11 just prepared to nod subconsciously, and then reacted, "This is a pit, but he can't say that it is not beautiful, this is a live broadcast, if it is not beautiful, maybe it will cause some controversy, this is in trouble for Angzi." Angzi scratched his head. He thought of roundabout tactics, "I'm a little far away, I'm sorry, I didn't see it clearly." This answer perfectly solved the pit just now. Abby gave Angzi a quick look, and then let Angzi go back to warm up. She knew that the warm-up before the game is still very important. Simply ask 2 questions. Now, we can't delay Angzi's warm-up. The game started very quickly, and all of the Chuck's starting lineups appeared. Shaq's starting lineup Angzi also saw it. Point guard Ricky Rubio, shooting guard Jeremy Lin cameo, small forward Markieff Morris, power forward Blake Gary Fern, center Greg Monroe. At the beginning of the game, the offenses of the two teams were very messy, various singles, Shaq team grabbed the ball, Monroe won the jump ball, and then the first wave of offense was Blake Griffin's singles. The Chuck team didn't do much defense either. Derek Williams didn't know whether he was afraid of being detained or deliberately giving Griffin a chance to perform. He gave it a step away, Blake Gary Fern staged a violent tomahawk slash, which ignited the enthusiasm of the fans at the opening. The dunk king of last season showed his iconic dunk from the beginning. He knows what the audience wants to see. Switching to Chuck's offense, the situation is similar. Kelly Irving's singles were not defended at all. He easily broke through Ricky Rubio and completed a layup. In this way, the two teams started various offenses and defenses without defense. The Shaq team showed off their dunk skills, but Blake Griffin didn't play for long, because the Clippers have a relatively close schedule recently. To play an all-star game, Griffin chose to rest early. In this way, without the great god Griffin, the Shaq team has become a two-player show between Jeremy Lin and Ricky Rubio. These two point guards have all kinds of outstanding layups, three-pointers, and flying. On the contrary, it is the Chuck team. Kelly Irving does not seem to be in a very good state, and the Chuck team is slowly falling behind because he has not hit various individual singles. Anzi didn't care either. In this rookie game, his chances should not be many, so he has been chatting with his teammates on the sidelines, Gordon Hayward and Derek Favors from the Jazz. Because of Abby, they and Anzi it quickly became familiar. After all, Jeff Hornacek is their predecessor and current coach. They won't have too many chances in this game, so the three people are discussing to give up all the offensive opportunities to one person after the meeting. The fastest and hottest serial works are all for mobile users, please go to read it. Super Role Player. Author, Yuen San Buletinji. Chapter 64. I broke 500 on the first day of the recommendation of the week. The performance of the comrades is very good. The addition of Yuen also complies with the promise and is offered. I think this opportunity should be given to me. I am an offensive player, good shots, many offensive methods, and, you only shoot 3 points, don't you? Let alone Derek, what else except dunks? Gordon Hayward brags frantically about himself. Anzi and Derek Favors almost can't listen to them. Derek Favors laughed and scolded. Anzi asked Gordon Hayward to stop. Stop, Gordon, I think it's useless for you to praise yourself like this. What if I only get 3 points? My 3 points are accurate. So, I think we should use another way to decide the outcome. Which way? The two little Jazz rookies looked at Anzi with harmless eyes. Anzi smiled. These two guys are about to get into the set. He pretended to think for a while, then his eyes lit up, pointing to a group of celebrities not far away, and said, the first half is almost over. The midfielder at that time, Justin Bieber, would come out to sing, and we would guess what song Bieber would sing, and whoever guessed it would get all the offensive opportunities. Then, how about 3 minutes of thinking about each of us? You can use your mobile phone to search for songs. Anzi's proposal was quickly approved by the other two. Guess what song Justin Bieber sang? This is indeed a good method, and in the eyes of Jazz Gemini, how much can Anzi, a Chinese, know about Justin Bieber songs? As everyone knows, Anzi has a big killer. He quietly took out his phone, pretending to search for songs, but opened MSN, clicked on the chat box with Abby, and typed in, Abby, please help me to ask. What is the repertoire of Justin Bieber's mid-time performance? After a while, Anzi saw Abby standing in front of Bieber with the microphone. Anzi waited for a while, and the MSN dialog box began to beat, and the result was IME, and 11 smiled, very happy and evil. Gordon Hayward and Derek Favors have used their mobile phones to check for a long time. Justin Bieber is a singer who has just been popular in the United States in the past 2 years. There are not many songs. These two guys have checked for so long and they seem to be very good. With confidence. You speak first, and Gordon Hayward looked at Anzi and said. And 11 nodded, and did not refuse, I guess it is IME. Gordon Hayward laughed, as if he thought Anzi had failed. He immediately spit out a word, mistletoe, I think it's this song. Mistletoe, Anzi knows this song. This is the song Justin Bieber sang at the National Music Awards. It seems that Gordon Hayward also did some homework. And Derek Favors is not so confident anymore. He hesitated to report a song title, Down Go Earth? Well, I don't know, but I guess this song. All three of them gave their own answers, and they had to wait until the intermission to come out, but fortunately, Anzi must have no playing time in the first half. Charles Barkley had to guarantee Kelly Irving's playing time. The situation of the Chuck team is not optimistic. Kelly Irving's state is not very good. The Chuck team gave him a lot of chances to refresh his data, but Irving did not grasp it. As a result, the Chuck team fell behind all the way and ended at halftime. The Chuck team has fallen behind by 17 points. Charles Barkley said before the game that limiting opponents to less than 90 points and getting more than 100 points is unlikely to happen. During the intermission, Justin Bieber finally came out. Gordon Hayward closed their mouths nervously, but the heavy breathing betrayed them. Angie was actually very nervous too. Who knew Justin Bieber would? Will you lie to Abby? After all, Bieber is known as a music naughty boy, and it is not impossible for a naughty boy to say something false. However, as soon as Justin Bieber opened his voice, Angie knew that he was stable. I am E. The singing from the center of the stadium is obviously I am E, and this result is doomed. Damn, and, your luck is really good. Poor Gordon Hayward also thought it was because of Angie's luck. But if Angie wins, they won, and they won't fall back on the bill. In this way, everything is settled. In the second half, they will give up offensive opportunities to Angie. In the second half, Kelly Irving, who was in poor condition, applied for no longer playing. In this game, he will not get the MVP of the Rookie Challenge. It is better to have a good rest off the court. In this way, Charles Barkley chose to substitute, John returned to the point guard position, Gordon Hayward played the shooting guard position, Angie became the small forward, the power forward was Paul George, and the center was Derek Favors as a cameo. Gordon, let's play in the second half. We'll have time to mix it up on the court. It may be that the score is too far behind, and the players on the Chuck team are not in the mood to brush the data. John Wallier took the initiative to give up the opportunity. Gordon Hayward and the others, Angie's faces were full of smiles, and they gave it to Gordon Hayward, but in fact they all gave it to him. Angie played, the lineup of the Chuck team was fairly normal. When they saw the lineup of the Shaq team, their jaws were almost shocked. Shaq's lineup in the second half was impressively, Jeremy Lin, Ricky Rubio, Norris Cole, Kemba Walker, and Brandon Knight, a lineup of 5-point guards. The fans on the scene soon started booing, O'Neal started playing, and this originally one-sided Rookie Challenge also became a bit interesting. Angie also found it very interesting, especially when he saw his opponent had 5 shorts. Is O'Neal ready to release the water? However, Angie quickly thought that there seemed to be a year in the All-Star game. The West had sent 5 major lineups. Kevin Garnett was the point guard, the shooting guard was Dirk Nowitzki, and the small forward was Chris Webber, the power forward. Tim Duncan, center Yao Ming, was shocked. Looking at it now, O'Neal's lineup has turned the top 5 into the 5 small ones. Who makes the tall ones in the NBA rare? Even if O'Neal wanted to make a taller lineup, he couldn't make it. It was Chuck's offense at the beginning of the game. Gordon Hayward and the others did not violate their promise and directly handed the ball to Angie, but this made Angie worry. He doesn't have the ability to attack with the ball. The Chuck team let China and take the ball. Could it be that China and performed in the second half? On the sidelines, Abby dropped the interview microphone and cheered loudly, and, come on. After getting cheers from his girlfriend, an 11 rushed to the front court with his head stuffed and held the ball. It was only in the front court that the Shaq didn't guard him. The one who was in charge of defending Angie was Norris Cole, the Heat's backup point guard. 2 steps away from Angie, this distance is equivalent to leaving Angie vacant. Angie didn't even think about it, but he made a 3-pointer, a hit. The 3-pointer is in hand, the Rookie Challenge game, he is going to behave, but I don't know how far he can play in this game. Book friends are welcome to visit and read, the latest, fastest and hottest serial works are all at mobile phone users. Please go to read. Super Role Player. Author, Yuen San Buletinji. Chapter 65. Today's first update, please drop the recommended votes in your hand, 500 votes plus more. After a little celebration, it was Shaq's turn to attack and Jeremy Lin had the ball. Jeremy Lin had already scored 17 points and 6 assists in the first half. He hadn't had a rest in the second half. Obviously, he was ready to continue. Just keep going. Jeremy Lin's MVP of the Rookie Challenge is likely to be taken away by Jeremy Lin. With the crazy craze, it is estimated that the book hero will be on fire again. Faced with John's defense, Jeremy Lin made a 1.5 turn and made a layup. He scored 2 points. His total score has reached 19 points. This is clearly a rhythm that will not stop without MVP. Chuck team attacked, Angzi took the ball again, Shaq team lazily defended, Angzi directly pulled from outside the 3-point line, and hit again. 6 points. The 17 points that Chuck originally fell behind was also a 13-point difference because of Angzi's 2 3-pointers. But no one cares, because the 13-point difference is big enough, and the Chuck team is not defensive. No matter how you trace the Chuck team, you can't catch up with the Shaq team. The ESPN commentary on the sidelines also thinks so. In this rookie challenge, ESPN sent Magic Johnson and Kenny Smith to comment, and also invited the great director Spike Lee as the guest commentator. As an avid fan of the New York Knicks, Spike Lee watched this game very happily. Seeing Shu Hao score 2 more points, Spike Lee shouted in excitement, "Lin Madness scored another 2 points, it seems MVP it belongs to him." And seeing Angzi hit a 3-pointer again, Spike Lee only trembled with a small heart, and then said to comfort himself, "China Ann's 3-pointer has made it, but it doesn't matter, there are 13 points left. As long as the Shaq team, if you don't make a mistake, the Chuck team can't catch up." Before the words were over, the Shaq team's quick offense made a mistake. Ricky Rubio rushed to the front court and lost the layup. Spike Lee opened his mouth wide and couldn't help but slap his mouth, Micro's mouth. Ricky Rubio missed a layup, Derek Favors directly grabbed the rebound and passed the ball to Angzi. An 11 rushed to the front court, still no one came to defend him, and unceremoniously made another 3-pointer. Spike Lee's mouth subconsciously murmured, "You won't enter again, will you?" The next second, the basketball fell into the hoop and went in again. 10 points difference. Abby on the sidelines screamed, "Ann, you are the best." Everyone knows that Abby is Angzi's horse from this affection show, far away in Utah, who also watched the game. Phonesek's hair was about to stand up, and he could only watch Angzi away his beloved daughter. But in fact, from the bottom of his heart, Jeff Hornacek has accepted Angzi as a good son-in-law. He just can't stand his daughter and Angzi's blatant show of affection. For Angzi's 3 consecutive 3-pointers, Jeff Hornacek was still very satisfied. With a 10-point difference, the Shaq team also got serious. Jeremy Lin held the ball to the front court. For the sake of safety, Jeremy Lin also called a pick and roll. Norris Cole pulled it out. The 2 small men finished a pick and roll. Angzi wanted to have fun, but the Shaq team still scored. Shu Hao's offense after the pick and roll was still very stable. With 2 points in the account, Shu Hao scored 21 points, and at the same time the point difference came to 12 points. Chuck's offense, John Wall wants to pass the ball. The ball can't always be controlled by Angzi. Others have to play with it from time to time, otherwise the audience on the sidelines will have opinions. Angzi knows this too. So he didn't fight for this ball. Indisputable does not mean that Angzi did not get this chance to shoot. After halftime, Angzi started to move. He knew that Wallace is a pass-first point guard. If he can run out of the open space with this ball, Wallace will pass the ball to him. Because Angzi scored 3 points in a row, the Shaq team saw that the point difference was in a hurry. This wave of offensive Shaq team actually started to defend seriously. 5 small point guards started to mark the defense. Next to Angzi is Kemba Walker. This Angzi his college teammates have been pestering Angzi. Ran a few laps in a row, but the Shaq team's small lineup gave play to their advantage of speed. Angzi can be entangled by one of the small point guards no matter how he runs. In the end, John Wall could only come by himself, and after a quick break through Jeremy Lin, he got 2 points with a low layup. In Utah, the old man in Angzi hated iron and steel and patted the table. This ball can't come out, no wonder I can't start the Spurs. If he can run half of my ball without the ball, Angzi didn't know that he had been targeted by Jeff Hornacek. His old husband was planning to go to San Antonio to help Angzi improve his skills. Jeff Hornacek was a super shooter back then, shooting and running proficient, now also serves as the shooting coach of the Jazz. Shaq's offense, Kemba Walker has to pass the ball and prepare to brush a goal, but the defense of the Chuck team is also serious. There is no reason why others have to release the water if they are serious. So Kemba Walker, who was about to score a few points, found himself in a tragedy. Old teammate an 11 has been defending him. Kemba Walker has no chance at all. And, don't do this, give a chance. Kemba Walker took the ball with his back, and seeing that there was not much time left on the offensive, he began to beg Angzi. You just guarded me. Angzi smiled, still holding Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker had to compromise, then we trade, I won't guard you next. Angzi nodded immediately, okay then. Angzi turned sideways, let Kemba Walker rush into the lane, completed the layup, and the point difference became 12 points again. Angzi had to pass the ball from the backcourt and slowly transported it to the front court. Kemba Walker did not defend. He let Angzi take a step and Angzi made a three-pointer. Watching the basketball draw a perfect arc, pass through the net, and make a beautiful swish sound. 3 points, 4 points. Angzi has already scored 12 points, and because of Angzi's 4 three-pointers, the point difference has become 9 points in an instant. The Chuck team saw the dawn of victory, and the Shaq team felt the danger. Shaquille O'Neal quickly called a timeout. And, well done. Your three-pointer is accurate, let us get the score back and kill the other side. Angzi came off the field, and Charles Barkley hugged Angzi hard. It was Angzi's three-pointer that made him again. Seeing the hope of turning defeat into victory. By the way, we will also make adjustments. There are 5 point guards on the opposite side. We will have 5 swing guards. Evan, you will replace John. Martian, you will replace Derek. Haha, 5. I'm such a genius as a guard swingman. Charles Barkley fell into self-confidence again, and an 11 could only silently compare in his heart. However, the idea of the 5 forward swingers is really good. As soon as Angzi came out, the fans on the scene were hilarious again. The Shaq team did not change, and there were still 5 point guards. In this way, the 5 point guards swing against the 5 forward guards. A battle in different locations kicked off. Book friends are welcome to visit and read. The latest, fastest, and hottest serial works are all at mobile phone users. Please go to read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Role Player. Author, Yuen-San Buletinji. Chapter 66. 5 point guards and 5 swing guards. I think this will be the most weird basketball game I have ever seen. Haha, yes, O'Neal and Barkley are good at playing, and Jeremy has 21 points and 6 assists. If Shaq wins, Jeremy will win the MVP. Angzi's performance is also very good. After only a few minutes of playing, he scored 4 three-pointers, 12 points. Now that the game has renewed suspense, is it also related to Angzi? Yes, Angzi's three-pointer is too strong, and it hits 100% without defending. This year's Olympic men's basketball team is about to rise. I don't know if Shu Hao will not join the national team. If you form a trio with Angzi and UAE, you will have a chance to break through the quarter-finals in the Olympics. This rookie challenge also attracted countless Chinese fans to watch, and some fans even skipped class to watch this rookie challenge. In the first half, Jeremy Lin's performance made the fans very addicted. In the second half, Angzi's debut was even more exciting. It's so cool to make everyone shout and scream. Two Chinese became the protagonists in the All-Star game. This scene is too rare. After the replacement of the Chuck team, the five front guards began to move wildly, and the defense became serious. However, Ang Zi still abided by the agreement and did not seriously defend Kemba Walker, but the Shaq team refused to give Ken at all. Ricky Rubio took control of the chance of Baruch's offense, but under the defense of Martian Brooks, his CIC declared to hit the iron, and Ang Zi, who had already stood in the interior, jumped high and swiped. Rebounds. With a rebound, an 11 didn't pass the ball and took it directly to the front court. Without a word, he scored a three-pointer and scored personal 15th points. The difference between the two teams has also been reduced to 6 points. The difference of 6 points is negligible. Spike Lee, who was commenting on the sidelines, began to be dissatisfied with the other players of the Shaq team. He mumbled, "This Ricky Rubio's shooting is so bad, why let him shoot? And, this what is Kemba Walker doing? Why not defend well?" He even attacked Shaquille O'Neal. Also, what is the big fat Shaq doing? Aren't the five small men giving the opponent a chance? The other two commentators on ESPN were extremely embarrassed. Perhaps they have regretted calling Spike Lee as the guest of commentary. O'Neal on the sidelines can't hear Spike Lee's complaint. He has already played. In fact, for O'Neal and Barkley, the outcome is not important, the important thing is to be able to play. But Jeremy Lin didn't want to play anymore. Seeing that the Chuck team crazily narrowed the point difference and his MVP was almost gone, he couldn't stand it anymore. He had to pass the ball from the back court, control the front court, and faced Gordon Hayward's defense. Gordon Hayward's defense was average, but he wouldn't let Jeremy Lin easily break through, so Jeremy didn't find a chance at the beginning, so he waved for a pick and roll. It was Norris Cole's pick and roll again. The bookmaker broke through Gordon Hayward and rushed all the way to the basket. The bookmaker in Lin's crazy state felt very hot. When he rushed to the basket, he threw it straight away. But, at this time, an 11 made up for it. The moment Jeremy Lin took the shot, an 11 jumped up, punched it with his big hand, and got the block data directly. Kenny Smith couldn't help but yelled out loudly, "Nice blocking, Cap." Ang Zi blocked Jeremy Lin. Spike Lee blows his beard and stares at the shouting, "Mom, yeah, Jeremy Lin didn't score, who should he blame? Kenny Smith can only be blamed, what are you so excited about?" After Jeremy Lin's layup was blocked, the basketball was taken by Paul George, and the Chuck team launched a fast break. Gordon Hayward, who was running fast, received a pass from Paul George and scored 2 points. The point difference was left 4 points. Gordon Hayward's fast break dunk drew cheers from the audience. The ball became more and more attractive, and the most important thing was that the game resumed suspense. Far away on the other side of the ocean, what excites fans most is not Gordon Hayward's dunk, but Ang Zi's Jeremy Lin. The first head-to-head confrontation of the Chinese in the All-Star game, although only a rookie challenge, was exciting enough. Ang Zi is a good shot blocker. I hope he can form an offensive and one defensive national team combination with Jeremy. Ang Zi Big Hat Book How, the Chinese can play against each other so wonderfully. Looking at the comments, it seems that they are all complimenting an 11 and Jeremy Lin, but there are no rhythms. Ang Zi is great, kill that American. There are 4 points left, and the Chuck team sees more hope of winning, but the starters that have been replaced are not good at asking to play again. If this request is made at this time, the intention is too obvious. Therefore, Ang Zi is still the main player on the field and still has the vast majority of the ball. Returning to the defensive end, once again defending against Shaq's offense, an 11 turned around and shot a three-pointer. There was only 1 point left, and Ang Zi also scored 18 points. This score is already the third highest in the game, second only Jeremy Lin with 21 points and Kelly Irving with 19 points. Irving is in a hurry. He wants to play at, but Charles Barkley, who is already playing high, would not think of a substitution. Now he will only exclaim with excitement, "The lineup of the 5 guard swingers is too strong. Charles Barkley, found the strongest lineup." People who are immersed in their own world are terrible. The 1-point difference soon disappeared. Shaq's offense and the ball was handed over to Kemba Walker. Anzi honored his promise and did not defend. Kemba Walker scored 2 points. However, after a few seconds, Anzi scored a 3-pointer and directly equalized the score. Anzi scored 21 points. The score has been tied with the book How. The Shaq team and the Chuck team have also been tied. This rookie game looks interesting. CCTV also broadcast the rookie challenge. See, when the match was tied, director Zhang laughed excitedly. Yes, it is really interesting. The 2 Chinese became the protagonists of this game. I think this is something most people didn't expect, and the game has entered a fever pitch, and it is estimated that it will be more exciting later. Yujia also responded happily. But the game did not become as intense as he thought, and the Chuck team has completely occupied the advantage on the field. Also defending against Shaq's offense, Anzi continued to hit the 3-pointer and Gordon Hayward also got a few good scoring opportunities. In this way, Chuck slowly gained a lead of more than 10 points. The height advantage makes Chuck's defense better and the offense easier. At the end of the game, Anzi shot a total of 11 3-pointers and hit 9 of them, plus 2 free throws and a mid-range goal. Anzi scored 31 points, the highest score in the game. He was also shot by Charles in the last minute. Barkley replaced. Super Role Player. Author, Yuan Sanbuletinji. Chapter 67. What's inside? The number of recommended votes today seems to be less than 500, but Yuan should add another chapter. Comrades, work hard to vote. In addition, if the weekly push reaches 1,000 votes, Yuan will still add more votes this chapter is even if Yuan broke out. In the end, the rookie challenge ended, and the Chuck team won 101:87, which is regarded as the completion of Charles Barkley's pre-game rhetoric. For this score, Anzi was also speechless, so he was hit by Charles Barkley's big mouth, below 90, above 100. After the game, Anzi, who scored the highest score in the game, naturally became the hottest candidate for the Rookie Challenge MVP. Kelly Owen, who finally played 4 points, also had a certain chance. He scored 23 points, which is lower than Anzi. But there were many assists. Kelly Irving had 8 assists, 3 rebounds, and 1 steal. Anzi also has the advantage of other statistics. He has 5 rebounds, only 2 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. The data is comprehensive and the shooting rate is very high. Anzi only missed 2 3-pointers and 1 in the entire game. CIC. While the league was discussing who the MVP of the Rookie Challenge will be awarded, an 11 was interviewed on the sidelines. It was Abby who interviewed him naturally. This little girl kept winking at Anzi, making Anzi happy. "An, you scored a game-high 31 points in this game. Do you think you have a chance to win the MVP of the Rookie Challenge?" MVP. Anzi is humble, so his answer is simple: there should be a chance. I don't know. Kelly's performance is also good, and Jeremy Lin, his score is also high. They all have a chance. Then if you get this MVP trophy, who would you give it to? Hearing this question, with Abby's winking eyes, an 11 smiled. This little girl is quite shrewd. "I think I will give it to my girlfriend, I love her." "Then I believe you will win the prize." Anzi and Abby showed off the love of Bon again in front of the American audience. The resentment of the single dog has almost broken through the TV screen. The league discussions did not take too long. The official NBA host took a representative of NBA sponsor Kia Motors to the center of the court. The official NBA host Thiago Stewart raised the microphone and announced, then, the official NBA sponsor will Kia Motors CEO Martin Juno presented the Rookie Challenge MVP award. The player who won the 2011-2012 All-Star Weekend Rookie Challenge MVP is Angzi from San Antonio. Hearing that he had won the prize, Angzi was not too excited. He walked to the center of the court with a smile on his face and faced a group of reporters with the cameras snapping wildly. Angzi took the Rookie Challenge MVP trophy from the sponsor and returned it by the way. "Thank you for saying something." Raising the MVP trophy of the Rookie Challenge, Angzi's performance of Furui Bubo was excited in his heart. Before coming to Orlando, he never thought he could get this MVP. Tiago Stewart, the official host of the NBA, pointed the microphone at Angzi. There were a few old-fashioned questions. Angzi answered them one by one, and the whole awards ceremony was over. At the end of the awards ceremony, more reporters gathered around, especially those domestic reporters, who squeezed forward like crazy, squeezed to Angzi. The crowded reporters. Angzi finally got the same treatment. "Angzi, how do you feel about getting the rookie game MVP?" "It feels very unreal, I am very happy." "And, defeat Lynn Madness, Blake Griffin, and Kelly Irving. Do you think your strength is on the same level as them?" The second question made Angzi stunned. It was a slobber. He glanced at the reporter's card, ESPN. Angzi didn't think too much. He paused for a second and replied, "I miss me, there is still a gap with them. They are already star players in the league, and I am only a role player. The reason why I can get the MVP in this game is that I am in good shape." Angzi knows that humility is always right no matter what. Although blindly humility may be trampled on, it is better than being taught by others after being arrogant. "And, you scored 9 3-pointers in this game. Then you will participate in the 3-point contest tomorrow. Do you have any expectations for tomorrow's game? Does your hot performance on the 3-point line today give you a certainty? Confidence?" This question is much more normal, and Angzi's answer is also easy. "I am in a good state today, but tomorrow is not easy to say, but today's performance does give me a lot of confidence." Dozens of reporters gathered around Angzi and asked a dozen questions. Eventually, because the stadium needed to be cleared to prepare for the next celebrity game, the interview was over. Angzi quickly left the arena. Tony Parker drove to pick him up, and at the same time he also picked up Abby. "Abby, the rookie game MVP trophy, follow the promise and give it to you." Angzi sat in the back row with Abby, and he offered the trophy with both hands. Abby's face bloomed with a smile, held the trophy, and then kissed Angzi on the face with a squeak. "I love you, Ann." Tony Parker in the front row finally couldn't stand it anymore. "Hey, Ann, take care of people who don't have a girlfriend, okay?" Angzi laughed. "Okay, no problem, Tony." The two followed Tony Parker's car to the hotel. Originally, Tony Parker invited Angzi to a party organized by Dwight Howard at night, but Angzi rejected it. He just won the MVP of the Rookie Challenge. After this party, it is estimated that he will be used as a target. Angzi thinks it is better for him to hide far away. Parker sent Angzi to the hotel. Angzi reopened a double room and moved in with Abby. Naturally, there is no need to say more about the night. Anyway, Angzi and Abby didn't come out of the room all night. Dinner was also brought in. After Angzi and the others left, the Masters also triggered a wave of enthusiasm. The appearance of Justin Bieber made the fans on the sidelines even more excited. In the end, Kevin Hart won the MVP of the Masters. The talk show actor won the Masters MVP for the first time. On February 26, 2012, the highlight of the All-Star Weekend will be staged on this day. The slam dunk contest, three-point contest, skill contest, and shooting star contest are about to be staged. Early in the morning, Tony Parker drove to pick up Angzi again, but this time he only picked up Angzi, because Abby has already gone to work. This morning, Angzi is going to participate in community service activities for children in the Orlando orphanage. Go to basketball and bless, and Abby will follow Angzi to report and interview. Tony Parker didn't need to go, but he still had to take care of his team's younger brother. He drove Angzi to the Hilton Hotel, the designated concentration location of the league, and he drove away. Those who went to the orphanage to participate in community activities this time were all rookies who participated in the Rookie Challenge yesterday. When Angzi got off the bus, it attracted everyone's attention. Yesterday, Angzi won the MVP but attracted a lot of hatred, but Gordon Hayward and Derek Favors came up to say hello as soon as they saw Angzi. The bus arranged by the Alliance arrived soon. Angzi found Abby on the bus. The two blinked at each other and then smiled. Going to the orphanage to send love, this community activity is still very easy. Angzi just stood on the sidelines and shot a few baskets, and then signed a few little orphans, even if the event was over, because there was a game in the afternoon. Angzi left early. Book friends are welcome to visit and read. The latest, fastest, and hottest serial works are all at mobile phone users. Please go to read. Super Role Player. Author, Yuen Sanbuletnji. Chapter 68. When Angzi arrived at the Amway Arena, many fans had already appeared in the square in front of the arena, wearing all kinds of jerseys. Angzi even saw a few Spurs jerseys, and they knew they were without even thinking about it. To support himself and Tony Parker, after all, the Spurs only have a game with Tony Parker today. Angzi found a place assigned to him by the league in the corner of the arena. Today Tim Duncan is also here. Although the nerd does not participate in the All-Star game, he still has to support the good friend game. Of course, there is also Angzi. This little brother of GDP, he also has to come and support. And, come on, try to win the three-pointer. I heard that the Heat sent two generals. Danny Green, who came with Tim Duncan, directly raised the three-point contest to the level of the Heat and the Spurs. And 11 smiled helplessly. Don't worry, Danny, you have to believe my 3 points. Haha, change me if you can. Danny Green smiled. This season's Danny Green is not the later Emperor Armajong Thailand, and his current three-pointer is still very accurate. And 11 made A and didn't say anything, but sat in his place. On the second day of the All-Star weekend, the 4 events will first hold the Shooting Star Contest, then the Skill Contest, which is the battlefield of Tony Parker, then the three-point contest, and finally the most popular Slam Dunk Contest. For this year's Shooting Star Contest, 4 cities sent their teams. The Atlanta team is composed of Jerry Stackhouse, Lindsey Harding, and Steve Smith. The host Orlando sent Jameel Nelson, Mary Fernand Harris and Dennis Scott. New York sent Landry Fields, Cappy Poundcase, and Allen Houston. Houston sent Chandler Parsons, Sophia Young, and Kenny Smith. It is worth mentioning that Charles Barkley left yesterday as the head coach of the Chuck team, and today Barkley's commentary partner Kenny Smith has also left. This time he still played in person. There is nothing to say about the Shooting Star game, and the audience's enthusiasm is not enough. This game is at best an appetizer of today's game. After the whole game, only Orlando himself won a lot of cheers. The Spurs cheered up on Sophia Young, who played for Houston. Angzi was a bit strange at first, but after asking, I realized that Sophia Young was a teammate of the WNBA San Antonio Silver Stars and belonged to Tim Duncan. Old acquaintance. In the end, the New York team, led by Allen Houston, defeated the other 3 teams and won the Shooting Star Contest. Then came the Skill Contest. Tony Parker went to the locker room to prepare early. When the Shooting Stars Contest was over, Tony Parker followed the team. Originally, Angzi should go to the locker room to prepare at this time, but to support his teammates. Angzi waited for a while, and when Parker entered, Angzi stepped forward. Tony, come on, I am waiting for your good news behind. Tony Parker smiled. Stunky boy, don't stress me. Angzi also smiled, and then went to the locker room. He was going to change clothes to prepare. He couldn't see the skill contest. he could only listen to one result. There are already many people in the locker room. In addition to Angzi, Mario Chalmers and James Jones from the Heat, Ryan Anderson from the Magic, and Kevin Love from the Timberwolves participated in this three-point contest. And Kevin Durant from the Thunder, the biggest player among all players participating in the three-point contest went at it. Of course, Kevin Love is not bad. The rebounding monster and the data emperor have now been sought after as the league's two young men. Power forward, as famous as Blake Griffin. I think that I am most familiar with Angzi, and naturally it is Ryan Anderson. The first night Angzi came to Orlando, I heard this guy brag about it all night. So seeing Angzi coming in, Ryan Anderson walked forward. "Hey, An, you are here too, you did very well yesterday." Ryan Anderson naturally knew about Angzi's performance yesterday. Ryan Anderson made a three-pointer on the three-point line. Ryan Anderson was shocked when he looked at it. He didn't expect this Spurs rookie to have such a stable three-pointer, but Ryan Anderson still didn't make it. Angzi puts his eyes on it. In Ryan Anderson's view, only Kevin Durant and Kevin Love can be his opponents. Angzi is not qualified. It's just luck, and 11 still maintained his modest and cautious style. "Haha, yeah, yesterday your three-pointer was really accurate, but it's hard to say how it is today. No one can say anything about status, especially if you are a rookie player. It's the first time to participate in this kind of competition. When you get nervous, maybe you will play abnormally. Anyway, you have to calm your mind. This time it won't work. Can you come again next year?" Ryan Anderson's words suddenly increased, and Angzi's humility made him kick his nose. And 11 didn't speak. This guy obviously felt good about himself. What he meant was that an 11 would eventually play abnormally because he was inexperienced and because he was a rookie. "Anyway, I will wait for the game. Angzi will prove himself with his performance in the game." As for Ryan Anderson, who feels good about himself, Angzi will ignore it. After Angzi entered the goal, several participating players also looked up at Angzi. Kevin Durant nodded to Angzi. He played against Angzi. Generally speaking, the two still knew each other. There is also the Heat duo, who also said, "An, you are here too, you have to be merciful when you wait for the game." Just looking at this attitude, the emotional intelligence is obviously much higher than Ryan Anderson. Angzi quickly changed his jerseys. After waiting a few minutes, news came from the stadium that the skill contest was over and they should go to the scene. Looking at the staff who ran over to report the letter, an 11 couldn't help but ask, "Sir, who is the champion of the skill contest?" The white staff member who reported the letter glanced at an 11, "Mr. An, it is Tony Parker of your team. He finally won the championship." An 11 grinned suddenly. The result was perfect. In the player channel, an NBA staff member is holding a box. This is about to draw lots. They have to decide the order of playing by drawing lots. The Heat duo draw first. Mario Chalmers drew the number 5, he played 5th, not bad. James Jones drew 3, the third appearance. The Heat duo draw results are good, middle position playing is the best. Kevin Love drew 2 and Kevin Durant drew 4, so that only 1 and 6 are left. Angzi and Ryan Anderson have not drawn yet. Their order is destined to be bad. 1 is the first. 1, the touch may not come when you play, and the other one will be the last one, and it will also be the one with the most pressure. Angzi pumped first. He was a little nervous. He reached into the box with his right hand. Angzi pinched a ball and came out. After spreading it out, it was 1. Angzi was the first to appear on the stage. "Welcome to Visit and Read. The latest, fastest, and hottest serial works are all at for mobile phone users. Please go to read. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Super Role Player. Author, Yiwen San Buletinji. Chapter 69. Angzi drew one and was the first one to play. This luck was also bad, but Ryan Anderson's luck was even worse. He didn't need to draw and was the last one to play. Angzi followed the team out of the player channel, and felt a surge of enthusiasm. The fans in the stadium began to cheer wildly, and DJs reported the names of the players participating in the three-point contest one by one. The first one to play was Angzi from San Antonio. Angzi stood in the middle of the field and waved his hand. In his first game, he was the first to be reported by the DJ. While Angzi waved, the fans in the Amway Arena cheered loudly. A few Chinese in Spurs jerseys not far away were especially loud and began to scream. Then Kevin Love from Minnesota, Love also stood up and waved. At the three-point contest, the audience's enthusiasm was soaring. After all, the game was still very popular. DJs made the news one after another, and Kevin Durant and Ryan Anderson got the biggest cheers of all. Angzi was ready to play. He moved his hands and feet on the sidelines, and several other players gathered around. "And, don't be nervous, you are the first to play, don't be pressured." It was Ryan Anderson who was speaking. An 11 gave him a surprised look. At this time, he didn't want to say anything anymore. Ryan Anderson was the last one to play. He was under pressure. It's bigger than Angzi, and there is still a leisurely mind to take care of Angzi. Angzi didn't reply either, and after a little movement, he appeared on the stage. Angzi walked towards the bottom corner, he waved to the audience on the sidelines, and the audience responded to Angzi with cheers. Angzi stood at the bottom corner, and the referee came over and asked, "Are you ready?" Angzi took a deep breath, "Ready." As soon as the voice fell, the referee pinched the watch and the timer started counting down. Angzi became nervous, leaning forward, swaying his hands on his side, ready to pick up the ball. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. D. When the timer sounded a beep, Angzi quickly picked up an orange ball next to it, waved her hand quickly, and threw it out. Only a sigh of success was heard 1 second later. Hit, and at this time Angzi has also picked up the second orange ball. The three-point contest has a total of 5 shooting points, 2 bottom corners, 2 45-degree angles, and an arc top center position. Each shooting point has 4 orange balls, which counts as 1 point and 1 flower ball. Count 2 points, the total score is 30 points. The first shooting point, the right bottom corner, Angzi's condition is not very good. The first orange ball is scored, then 3 consecutive goals are not scored, the flower ball is not scored, and the first shooting point is Angzi. Only get 1 point. Quickly walk to the second shooting point, at a 45-degree angle on the right, the first orange ball was lost again, and then 3 orange were scored, but the flower ball was lost again. This shooting point, Angzi again only scored 3 points. Ryan Anderson on the sidelines began to shake his head, and he kept chanting, "The rookie is a rookie." It seems that he wants to reserve one of the 3 eliminated places. At the third shooting point, at the top of the arc, Angzi has begun to find his form. Swish, Ryan Anderson can't laugh anymore. All of this position has directly reserved hope for Angzi. After all, it has been shot so far, Angzi has also only lost 8 points and the situation is still within control. The fourth shooting point, 45 degrees from the left, Angzi's first 4 orange all scored, the last flower ball was lost, and another 2 points were lost. Ryan Anderson seemed to see hope and his eyes lit up again. At the last shooting point, an 11 also became more focused. In the last 5 goals, he couldn't make a mistake. The first ball, adjust the posture, Angzi throws it directly, not a hit. Followed by the second ball, the third ball, the fourth ball, still the same. Angzi has completely entered the state. Ryan Anderson's face was stiff. But the fifth ball, flower ball, Angzi missed, slipped a bit, banged the iron. Ryan Anderson breathed a sigh of relief. Angzi lost 2 more points in the end and finally scored 18 points. This score was not high. Ryan Anderson believes that under normal circumstances, as long as he plays normally, he can get 21 or 2 points regardless of whether Angzi will be eliminated. He can always maintain the advantage over Angzi. And Ryan Anderson felt that Angzi would definitely be eliminated. He felt that no matter whether it was Adu, Love, or James Jones, they would not only score 18 points. Therefore, Angzi is very likely to be eliminated. Angzi walked off the court. He was still nervous after all. In the end, he only scored 18 points. This score is very dangerous. If one is unlucky, he will be eliminated. An 11 returned to the sidelines, and Tony Parker, who was sitting near the players' bench, came to comfort an 11, and, "Don't worry, your score may not necessarily be eliminated." An 11 nodded. He also felt that although the score was dangerous, it still had a good chance. The second player to play was Kevin Love, who took a short shot. In the end, Kevin Love scored 22 points and Angzi's heart sank again. James Jones, who played the third time, made a major mistake. He didn't score a flower ball, and the orange ball didn't make it. Finally got 16 points, 2 points lower than Angzi. I saw hope again. This 3-point contest was like a drama of hope and despair. Seeing despair, suddenly there was hope. The fourth appearance of Kevin Durant was very normal. In the end of the cheers, Kevin Durant scored 21 points, only 1 point less than Love. In this way, in Mario Chamo before S and Ryan Anderson started the match, Love had already secured a spot in the finals. The fifth player to play was Mario Chamos. An 11's breathing became short. Mario Chamos was also very nervous. He started shooting. Until the end, Mario Chamos scored 17 points, an 11. 1 point lower. Angzi squeezed his fist severely and screamed, "Yes, Chalmers scored lower than Angzi." In this way, Kevin Durant also secured a place in the finals before Ryan Anderson had started the game. As for Angzi, he kept his hope till the end. Whether he can make it to the final depends on Ryan Anderson's results. This time Ryan Anderson did not come to trouble Angzi. Perhaps Ryan Anderson already knew the critical situation by this time. Now, if his score is less than 18 points, he will send Angzi directly to the final. If it is higher than 18 points, just directly pressure Angzi to enter the finals. Ryan Anderson was under a lot of pressure. As the host, Ryan Anderson's appearance received a lot of cheers. Ryan Anderson also enjoyed the cheers. He glanced at Angzi, who was fidgeting. Is this Chinese still dreaming of the finals? Well, let me use a score of 20 or more to make him desperate. Super Role Player. Author, Yuan-san Buletinji. Chapter 70. This chapter is the recommended ticket plus update, because Yi Wenren was in Shanghai, and the wound was removed. I don't know the status of the recommended ticket, but I guess the recommended ticket must be over 1000 today. The chapter is updated regularly. Everyone is happy to see it. Remember, I voted for the recommendation. Ryan Anderson stood in the bottom corner. He let out a deep breath, and then signaled the referee to start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. Ryan Anderson quickly picked up a basketball and shot it with a bang. Okay. Ryan Anderson suddenly felt wrong, and then he took a second shot, and then there was another croak. The third goal was taken, and it was finally a soft goal. But the fourth ball immediately followed, with another croak, and the fifth ball with a croak. Ryan Anderson's mentality collapsed in an instant. He only scored 1 point for the first shot. For the second shooting point, the first 3 orange did not score, and the fourth was shot, and then the color ball missed. For the second shooting point, Ryan Anderson only scored 1 point. He directly lost 10 points for the first 2 shots. Ryan Anderson has been stunned. What's the matter with Nima? This is not his normal level at all. At the third shooting point, Ryan Anderson, who has been madly adjusted, hopes to regain his state, but he still misses. Not in. Not in. The position of the top of the arc is missed for 3 consecutive times. Ryan Anderson was not saved. Lost 3-pointers in a row. Angzi off the court has already jumped up excitedly. What does this mean? Means Ryan Anderson has only 17 points at most. Angzi has entered the finals. Next, Angzi no longer pays attention to Ryan Anderson. He has already been promoted. Who cares about a loser? In the end, Ryan Anderson's results came out. Ryan Anderson scored only 12 points in the home game and felt very good, setting a new low in this 3-point contest. Seeing Angzi sitting in the finals, Ryan Anderson opened his mouth. He didn't know what to say anymore. Fortunately, he always educates Angzi before the game. Now that he is well, he has been educated severely by reality. Angzi entered the finals. He was only slightly excited for a while, and then he performed very flat, waiting for the start of the finals. The order of playing in the finals is based on the scores in the preliminary round. The one with the highest score chooses from high to low or from low to high. In the end, Kevin Love chose from high to low. He didn't want to be the last one to play, so he was burdened with too much. Great pressure. Kevin Love, who played first, started the game at the bottom corner. After 25 goals, he gave a 23-point high score. This score was already the third highest score in the final round. The commentator on the sidelines already shouting, "Kevin Love has locked the three-pointer." 23 points. The third highest score in the history of the three-point contest finals. Kevin Love is in hot form. Durant and Angzi are very difficult. They have to bear too much pressure. They can hardly surpass Kevin Love. However, things are often changing. The second Kevin Durant played, Adu's performance was more stable. The first 3 shooting points, he only missed a flower ball. The last 2 shots, he shot again, lost a flower ball and an orange ball, and finally, a 25-point score appeared on the big screen, and everyone opened their mouths in surprise. The previous commentator who vowed that Kevin Love had locked the three-pointer directly changed his conclusion. 25 points, tied for the first point in history. Kevin Durant tied the final held by Jason Capano. Score record. At the same time, 25 points is also the highest score in the preliminary and final of the three-point contest. In the history of the preliminary game, only Craig Hodges has scored 25 points. And in the final, only Jason Capano scored 25 points, and now Kevin Durant joined them. With 25 points, Kevin Durant has locked the three-pointer. Unless the last Chinese and breaks the record. An 11 played and he was the last one. To be honest, he felt the pressure. Whether it was Kevin Love's 23 points or Kevin Durant's 25 points, it was insurmountable. Angzi's usual three-pointers in training. Very accurate, almost 100 shots and 100 hits, but now it is a competition after all, and there are many influencing factors. Angzi can't guarantee his state, so he can only fight for this final battle. Fight status, fight strength, fight luck. When stood at the bottom corner, Angzi maintained a tense state again. Angzi always believed that the state was easier to play. Kevin Durant, who was watching the game from the sidelines, began to chat with his Thunder teammates. The high score of 25 points made him feel very relaxed, and Kevin Love on the side also began to congratulate him. Angzi on the court was ignored by them. Angzi started shooting. The first three-pointer, in. The second one, also in. The third, still in. The fourth, in. Angzi's state is very hot, the first shot point, all in. However, this still did not arouse people's attention. Only those Chinese fans and Spurs teammates watched Angzi's final battle with wide-eyed eyes. No one thought Angzi could break the record. At most they are left with expectation. At the second shooting point, Angzi continued to adjust his posture and state, and the sound of screaming was endless. During the three-pointers, Kevin Durant began to look towards the center of the court involuntarily, because Angzi shot quickly and accurately. The cheers of the entire Amway arena are getting louder and louder. The second shooting point is still all in. Followed by the third one, at the top of the arc, Angzi's most secure position. He speeds up, and with a swing of his hands is a three-pointer, 5 goals, and a full hit. On the fourth shooting point, when Angzi made the first 4 orange steadily, Kevin Durant could not remove his eyes anymore. There was only one sentence in their hearts: Woko Nima. Is this going against the sky? For the fifth flower ball, Angzi still made it steadily. Haha. It feels so good. Only the last group is left. At this time, no one dares to look down upon Angzi. The louder and louder waves of cheers have flooded the entire arena, and the floor is shaking. Angzi's three-point feast has already made the fans completely hilarious. They seem to be seeing the appearance of a counter-attack show. And, I don't know who, and a group of fans started to call an 11's name, and this sound quickly swept the whole stadium. Angzi was not affected by this wave. He stood at the last shot point, the first orange ball, The sound is louder, and an 11 is unmoved. At this moment, his heart is peaceful, with only the basket in his eyes. The second orange ball. Boom, the whole arena exploded and Angzi scored the 26th point. Break the record, counter-attack. Won the king of 3 points. With the remaining 3 goals, Angzi has already won the championship regardless of whether it is scored or not. But Angzi is destined to make history. He stabilizes his figure, the third orange ball, 27 points. The fourth orange ball, 28 points. Finally, Hwaki's shot, slammed, and left a regret book. Friends are welcome to visit and read. The latest, fastest and hottest serial works are all at mobile phone users. Please go to read.